So I've travelled into the depths of Samburu for a rather special event. You can see this camp all set up behind me. The Tire World checkpoint for the Rhino Charge 2023. And I get to hang out in a place like this. So what is the Rhino Charge? Well, the Rhino Charge is a 4x4 vehicle event that takes place once a year. And they go to a different place in Kenya in order to support the local community that they're doing the charge in. And so there is a number of checkpoints set up behind me in this valley. And the idea is you start at one checkpoint and you have to, with your 4x4 vehicle, visit as many of the checkpoints within the region that they've set up in the shortest distance possible, and you have to do it within an allotted time. I believe we start tomorrow at about 7 and the checkpoint finishes at about we close at about 6:30. And so the idea is to basically visit all of those checkpoints, do it in the shortest distance possible, and you get the kudos of being the Rhino Charge champion of 2023. There are two classes, I believe. So you've got a classic class, which is unmodified 4x4 vehicles, and then you've also got a highly modified class where people have plowed a huge amount of money in building these vehicles with winches and roll cages and all sorts of crazy things. So here we are on a checkpoint on a hill in this beautiful Samburu countryside, and tomorrow morning the Rhino Charge people will be arriving and we will kick off. Now, Rhino Charge basically do this, I think, for two reasons: to support the local community that the charge runs in, and a lot of money is pumped into the local community to help them with projects of their choice. But the second thing is that they raise a huge amount of money to fence off areas of extreme natural beauty like game parks and reserves and things here, to ensure that people aren't destroying countryside. So you might think, well, having all these 4x4s driving all over the place, surely that's not good for the local community. Well, once a year, I guess it's like a herd of elephants coming through this community. The countryside will recover, and what's even better is that they are putting fences in place to protect wildlife, protect ecosystems here in Kenya. So it's a definite worthwhile cause. Let's go and have a look at the camp, what's been set up. So let's have a look around. So you can see that this terrain is pretty rugged, and I'm told that these 4x4s will go through a lot of this terrain. Now, just down here, I believe there's a checkpoint just over here. There's another checkpoint over there. In the distance over there, you can see another checkpoint which is called the Gauntlet, which I think is a technical stage. And there are, I think, a number of checkpoints all over the place. And this is our checkpoint. This is the Tire World checkpoint. And you can see that they've already come up this morning and set up their beautiful tents, and where they'll have food and refreshments and things for the Rhino Charge car people. And this is where it's all going to start tomorrow. You can see down here is a kind of lime circle. We're actually going to make it a bit bigger. Now, 4 vehicles will start here tomorrow, and their axles all have to be within this circle. And then at an agreed time, we'll say go, and this is their first checkpoint, and they'll go off and visit the number of checkpoints around us. And then, of course, we'll have other vehicles that are setting off from different checkpoints come and visit us. So you can see we've set our camp up here. Let's go up here. This is our radio point where we'll radio in the progress of all the vehicles. We'll have a look over here. Do we have the great Nick and Tigray? These are the chief commander officers. They didn't know they were going to be on film, so I'm going to leave them to have a moment. So there's our radio here, and that's where we will check in everything. I'm going to go now. And so we go back out here, and we can see we've set up our kitchen area just up here. So this is where we have or will be have lived for 3 days. And you can see I've also set up, me being a ham radio enthusiast, I've got to have an antenna up. And so I've already heard stations from Australia on there. It's only a little 5-watt transmitter. And so this is our Tyre World checkpoint for the Rhino Charge 2023. And I'm looking forward to seeing all of these vehicles. This is it, the morning of the Rhino Charge. It's about 6:15 in the morning. We're just waiting for our 4 vehicles to turn up and our sponsors, Tyre World. Hopefully they've got some breakfast for us to enjoy. But first, let's have some coffee. We had lots of great people helping at the Tyre World checkpoint, but let me introduce you to a few champions. This is Ryan. He was our recovery guy and photographer. This is Nick, and he was, alongside his other half, Tigray, the chief control officer. And Peter, well, all I can describe him as our morale booster and charm offensive officer who really welcomed people on site. My job was the communications guy, and I needed to communicate with HQ which vehicles had arrived, which vehicles had left and where they were going, and basically be ready to respond to any emergency. Now, it wasn't long until these guys arrived. We got them ready for a 7:30 start, and before you know it, they powered off into the Samburu wilderness, all looking for that coveted Rhino Charge champion. We've made it. This is the only car that's made it back to our checkpoint. Sadly, they didn't quite make it before the end of the Rhino Charge, but you can see people are absolutely ecstatic. They did an amazing traverse of this, wow, almost vertical rock face, and all I can say is the Rhino Charge is amazing. I've had a fantastic couple of days preparing for this, and then also the event itself. So thank you so much for watching. Please rate and subscribe to all of the things that YouTubers do, and well, why don't you enjoy the celebrations with me right now?